Hey guys, welcome to Rosie's Dessert Spot. Today we'll be creating this fun 2-tier sponge daubed watercolor cake. So you'll need 2 cakes that are 6 inches in diameter, cut them both in half and then fill in with buttercream. This is just vanilla buttercream. It has been colored red for no particular reason. I just have a lot of leftover buttercream, so I just mix it all together and use it as filling when I can. This is a second cake that's been stacked, and so in total I have a cake that's about 5.5 inches in height. Once all your cake layers have been stacked, create a crumb coat, trap in the crumbs. Smooth it out with a frosting scraper, and I'll be sure to leave a link to the frosting scraper in the description box below. Drag that top lip of frosting towards the middle and then refrigerate for a good 20 minutes. In the meantime, you can work on your top tier. This is just a single 4-inch cake cut in half, so it's super short. Filled it, crumb coated it, and then it's going into the fridge as well for 20 minutes. Once your buttercream has set nice and firm, you can apply your final layer of frosting. Because I am covering my cake with fondant, I've chosen to go over it with a ganache and buttercream hybrid. Basically, the ganache frosting is just a lot firmer to the touch, and so it's a lot easier to apply fondant, and it won't mess up the sides under the fondant as you work with it, if that makes sense. Sometimes if the frosting is too soft, you end up with really chunky and bumpy looking fondant. So definitely use ganache if you can. Do the same to the top tier, and then roll out your fondant to about 3 or so millimeters in thickness. I've used cornstarch to help it not to stick to my bench top. And then I'll drape it over my cake. Make sure to push out any air from the very top and then seal in the top edges. To stick your fondant to your cake, you just want to unravel those pleats and gently massage the fondant, working your way down to the bottom. I won't skip ahead or anything so you can see the whole process from start to finish. It does take about 5 or so minutes. You do want to work quickly because your fondant will eventually lose its elasticity and it'll start to crack. It was a very cold day in Melbourne this day, so I had to work extra fast because it was just becoming really solid and stiff very quickly. If this does happen, you can knead into the fondant some vegetable shortening. This will help to keep it soft and stretchy for a little bit longer. Cut off the excess at the base and then use 2 fondant smoothers to smooth out the sides of your fondant, and then clap them, pinch them together at the very top to create a nice sharp edge. And then you basically just want to repeat the whole thing again for your 4-inch top tier. I have my cake back in the fridge. I don't really live in a very humid area. Melbourne is pretty mild and dry, so I can leave it in the fridge and it won't sweat when I take it out, or at least it won't sweat very much. If you live in a super humid area, probably leave your cake in an air-conditioned room once it's been covered in fondant. Smooth out the sides and the top. And again, you just want to work quickly with your fondant as well. If there's any air that is trapped, you can just take a little pin, press it in sideways, and then push out the air. I have stuck 3 straws into the cake. If you can use bubble tea straws, nice thick plastic ones, they're really good. I knew that the top tier was not going to weigh very much at all, so I just used regular paper straws. Well, it can be done. You really don't want to do it on regular sized tiers because they will be too heavy. For the decoration, I've taken gel food color with vodka and some sponge. I've just sort of dipped it into that pool of paint and just dabbing it all over the cake. There are sections where the gel food color is a little bit more concentrated. This is how I get those darker patches. And if you do go overboard like I did here, take a second sponge and just dab it straight into the alcohol with no color added. This will dilute the color that's already on the cake and I'll have to spread it out a lot more. I like to use sponges rather than brushes because I really enjoy the texture that it gives. I think it's kind of like a concrete-y looking texture. I just really love it rather than brush strokes. I didn't add as much onto the top tier. I wanted to keep some of it white just to help it contrast a bit more. And then stick in any floral decorations. I've popped the stem into a straw, and that way it does not make contact with the inside of the cake. Add a ribbon at the base, and your cake is complete. I hope you guys enjoyed this cake decorating tutorial and give this design a go. If you do, hashtag Rosie's Dessert Spot so I can check it out. Thanks so much for watching. Feel free to subscribe for more cake decorating tutorials, and we'll see you in the next one.